Southwest 638, contact departure. Have a good flight.
Going to departure, Southwest 638.
Air Shuttle 5611 Phoenix Tower, wind 350 at 5, runway 25 right.
Alright, we're almost at the top of descent now. We want to go ahead and go through our descent checklist real quick. We need to set our cabin pressurization controller to the landing field pressure altitude plus 500 feet. And that's, let's see, the landing field is 4,300 feet. I just did the math over here, let me look. So we need to be at basically 5,000 feet. So top down here real quick. Go one more, and we want to set the cabin altitude to 5,000 feet. We adjust that, 5,000 feet. There we go, easy enough. Altimeter needs to be set. It won't actually be set until we cross 18,000 feet, but it'll be 3008. Cabin sign will remain as it is. We do not need any ice, and power is as required to give the desired rate of descent. That all being said, we are 36 miles from Cliff. Yeah, Cliff. And when I get to Cliff, I'd like to be at 8,500 feet. Don't think we're going to make it, but let's give it a try anyway. There's 8,500 feet. Flight level change. By doing that, what it should do, if I'm not mistaken, it should maintain our speed even if we reduce power. Let's see. Maybe I got it right. Maybe I don't. We'll find out here in a second. So the idea is the aircraft should try to maintain 220 knots, which is where we were at, or 219 knots, which means the rate of descent should change up or down. Vertical speed should go up or down to adjust the aircraft for the desired speed. That's what the flight level change is supposed to do. Okay, I'm kind of yammering on about that. When you hit flight level change, whatever speed you're set at, in this case, and we can adjust that speed too. We could say we want it to be 200. See, it's 220 there. Let's say we wanted it to be 225. We can crank it up to 225, and it's going to dive steeper to try and get us to 225. We don't actually want to be there. We want to be at 220. So you can see, just as we're passing it, our rate of descent should decrease in order to decrease our speed and keep it around 220. That's how flight level change works, supposedly. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, you can see it looks like it's starting to come back up a little bit. So we're trying to get down to 8,500 feet. We've got, what do we got? 28 miles to go to do that? Yeah, 27.5 miles to go. So we probably won't get there in time, not at this speed. I could reduce my speed. Now what I could do is I could say, you know what, I don't want to be going faster than 210 knots. And you can see it's decreasing the rate of descent to slow down our speed. When it hits 210 knots, it'll increase the rate of descent to try and maintain that speed. And then I can pull the throttles back a little bit further if I want to help it descend a little bit faster. Or if I want it to descend a little slower, I can put a little throttle back in. That's basically how it's supposed to work. So, it's going to get a little wild when we get up here to Cliff, because as you can see, these white lines, for some reason when I put in those waypoints, even though my nav data is updated, it put them in all the way back by Phoenix. Not really sure why that is. Again, there's currently no manual on the aircraft, so I'll just have to troubleshoot that as I go. So what I've done is I've pulled up my EFB on the side over here, and I know that when I get to Cliff, I need to turn to heading 082, which I've already gone in and programmed in there. So when we get to Cliff, I'll go right into heading mode, and I'll take a look at what my next altitude restraint is going to be, and we'll just go like that. Basically, we'll fly the approach. I call it semi-manually. We're using the autopilot to fly the aircraft, but we're controlling the heading, we're controlling the altitude, and so on. We're not just letting the aircraft fly via the FMS/FMC. It's actually the FMS is the flight management system, and the FMC is the flight management computer. Is that right? They're the same thing, though. CDU is the term I'm looking for. It's the control display unit, which is that guy right there. If I'm wrong, let me know down in the comments. I can take it. Just be nice. All right, guys. So I will see you when we are basically on approach. So yeah, see you in a little bit. Yep. I'll deal with this. Don't worry. See you shortly. Okay, we're making our turn onto our final approach course here, 338 degrees. We're at 8,200 feet and about to descend down to 7,500 as a matter of fact. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. And there's 75. Let's do vertical speed and bring it down by, let's go 700 feet per minute. And let's do our approach checklist real quick. Our pressurization's already been checked. Our cabin signs never came off. Auto feather switch needs to be armed, so we'll take care of that real quick. And flaps are already in the approach. Landing gear will be coming down here. Matter of fact, we can do that right now. Landing gear is coming down. Landing and taxi lights are on, and the prop sync needs to go off. That's this one right here. And that is the approach checklist right there. So right now we're just going to monitor our speed here. I'm going to bring that down a little bit more. I want to get that speed a little bit lower. And once the landing is assured, flaps will go to 100%. Yaw damper will come off. We'll make sure the prop levers are full forward and the power levers will be as needed. So looking pretty good there. Coming up on 7,500 feet. We're actually a little off course here. I turned a little quick, so let's just crank it over here a little bit, get back on course. And we need to go on down to 6,900 feet now. So let's do that. There's 6,900. We'll do vertical speed again. 700 feet per minute should work for us for now. And we're going to need to go a little steeper over this way so we can get lined up. And as soon as we hit 6,900, we're going to be going down to 5,800. So we'll go ahead and just set that right now. We can get pretty busy on approach, can't it? And then our last one will be 5,280 feet. We'll just bring it all the way down to 5,100 feet. I'm sorry, to 5,300 feet. And we'll see how it goes. And the master caution again is just because we don't have our prop levers all the way forward yet. We'll be taking care of that here shortly. We're about to cross the waypoint Cadre, which isn't showing up on here because of the issues I'm having with the flight management system. Not too big a deal. Whatever, it is what it is. I'm not too worried about it. Right now I just want to fly this approach. So we don't really have too much of a crosswind. It's almost straight off the nose. It's 7 knots, so we're looking pretty good. We're just past 6,900 feet, a little quick, so let's go ahead and let's just decrease that rate of descent a little bit so we don't get down too fast. You can see the airport in sight there. We've got all red lights at the moment. We want to get back on the glide slope. We're going to go ahead and let the autopilot fly it for a few minutes, helping it out a little bit here. And once we get a little bit closer here, we'll go manual at that point. So right now I'm just controlling everything. Looks to me like landing's going to be assured at this point. Yaw damper won't come off until we're ready to take the autopilot off, but let's bring this over to 338 degrees, or close to it. Let's bring it to 342 for the moment. Bring in the full flaps. You can hear them coming in there. That's what we want. Our speed should start to drop off rather substantially. Go ahead and bring those prop levers all the way forward. There's that beautiful sound. And let's back those throttles off a little bit more until we get a little slower here. Descending at 700 feet per minute. That's our altitude alert right there, telling us we're 1,000 feet from 5,300. Looking pretty good right now. 140 knots. I want to get it down around 130. So we'll bring that power back just a touch more. And you can see we're just a little off to the left of the runway center line at the moment. So we're going to maintain this course. We do have a little bit of crosswind, so I'm going to go ahead and throw it just a couple more degrees there. And just letting the autopilot fly for the moment. It's not a big deal. We're coming up on 130 knots here. We can bring just a little bit of power back in. This aircraft does give us call-outs all the way to the ground, which is fantastic. Let's try to remember to turn our engine anti-ice on once we're on the ground. You guys will have to remind me. Oh wait, I won't be able to hear you. Alright, I'll have to figure it out on my own. Just about on the center line here, so I'm getting ready to take the autopilot off. I'll use the quick key over here and see if it works. Seems like it did. It did indeed. So all the autopilot should be off at this point. So let's see if we can fly this aircraft to the ground, huh? Nice little visual approach here. A little high on the power setting there. Bring it back just a little bit. Listening for our call-outs. And our flight director can go off at this point. Getting a little chop with my mouse there for some reason. And let's turn the yaw damper off at this point as well. A little drift there. Again, crosswind. got just a little bit low there. That'll happen sometimes. I don't have a glide slope or anything like that. We're just flying a visual approach. And we're looking pretty good right now. Vertical speed's pretty good. Air speed's coming down. We want to land pretty close to 120. Throttles on this, the throttles on this one are a lot like they are on the 200. So probably just a shade before I think I'm going to hear the 50-foot call. I will start to roll those throttles all the way back. And let's see if we can land her smooth on the center line and without flying all the way down the runway. We've got to fly it all the way to the ground. I know it says we're a little low. We're doing all right.
100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
A little rough there. I'm not really pleased with that landing. There's the reverse thrust coming in. The throttles didn't quite cut all the way. I'm not sure if that's just a glitch with my sorry. There's the beta range. Oh, slow down. Oh, come on. Oh, that was terrible. Let's go to the end of the runway here. I'm not going to try and turn through the dirt there. Yeah, not really sure. The throttles didn't seem to come all the way down for some reason. Not sure if that's a glitch with my throttle quadrant or if I just didn't actually get them all the way back or what. So a little hard on the landing, minus 129 feet per minute, but it wasn't horrid. It wasn't, certainly wasn't our worst landing. Relatively smooth, other than not getting slowed down in time. So let's just see if we can use that beta range a little bit to stay off the brakes. Kind of helps a little. I don't know, the beta range seems to be a little off on this. I'm just using some differential braking around the corner here because we're still going really quick. Yeah, we're getting about where we want to be. Yeah, kind of ugly on my taxiing and stuff there, huh? Yeah, we're going to wear out the brakes on this bad boy because, boy, this bird just wants to go right now, doesn't it? Alright, let's get you set up on the taxiway. Let's do our after landing checklist here. Landing lights can come off at this point. They don't go together. You got to flip both switches on this one. And let's just take a look here. We didn't have a bulk landing. We actually did pretty good on that one. I think it was a decent landing, one of our better ones. Landing lights are off. Taxi lights need to stay on while we're taxiing in, of course. Engine anti-ice needs to come on. It's not on the checklist, but I remembered it. And you hear that changes the RPMs there in the engines, which actually slowed us down, so I guess that's kind of good. Engine auto ignition needs to go off at this point. That's these two here. Those are both off now. Electrical load, we can observe the limits. Trim set, flaps up. There's the flaps coming up right now. Let's get a little throttle in there because it doesn't want to go for some reason. There we go. And let's taxi it on in. I would imagine you guys probably don't want to sit here and watch me taxi all the way in. You did watch me taxi all the way out in Phoenix, so I'm not going to make you suffer through it. I'm going to go ahead and taxi the aircraft in, and I will see you back here in just a couple of minutes for the shutdown checklist. If I can figure out how to work the throttles in this thing. Alright, here we are all parked and ready to shut down the engine, so let's go ahead and take care of that right now. Parking brake is set. Avionics master switch needs to come off at this point. That's this one right here. We can turn that ISIS or IFIS off at this point too. Auto feather switch is off. Gimme. There it is. Light switches need to go off at this point. Taxi, nav, recognition, and strobe, but our beacon lights stay on at the moment. Cabin temp mode needs to come off. We'll hop over here and take care of that real quick. Cabin temp mode is off. Vent blowers stay on auto. Radiant heat, don't have a button for it. Batteries are charged. ITT, which is the temperature, is stabilized and has been for at least a minute. It has. We're good there. Condition levers can go to cutoff at this point, so let's hop on up here. Now you remember there's something in this one. You remember in the King Air 200, I kept telling you that when you pull those condition levers back, you had to pull those prop levers back and feather them as well to set that detemp. Well, watch what happens in this one. Well, They're going to make a liar out of me. They were feathering themselves earlier. They decided not to now. Propellers are feathered. Overhead panel switches need to go off at this point if there's any of them on. Just the emergency lights. Battery and generator switches need to come off now. It's right behind this guy here. Both generators. Battery comes off. Oxygen supply control handle, we never found it. We'll install the wheel chocks when we get out. The bat bus can go to emergency off, or it can stay on. I'm not really sure. Somebody let me know down in the comments if you're aware of that. We did have our engine anti-ice on. We could turn them off, but they're going to need them on next time they fly the aircraft, right? So let's go ahead and leave those on for the next pilots. And that is it, ladies and gentlemen. Let's hop on over here and just take one last look at this beautiful aircraft. And we're going to go from here over to our ACARS and go ahead and close out this flight, wrap it up on the website, and we will be done for the day. So I'll see you in just a minute. Okay, here we are on our ACARS window. As you can see, we're late again. Seems to be par for the course for me. I'm always late. Not a big deal, though. Flight is complete at this time. It's got our landing rate in there. Everything's good to go. Engines are shut down. Parking brakes are on, so we can go ahead and end the flight, and we don't want to waste too much time on that since we're late. So end the flight. It's not parked at a gate. Do you wish to continue? Yes, I wish to continue. Technically, it is parked at a gate, but for whatever reason, ACARS isn't registering that as a gate, so it may mean that our pilot report needs to be manually checked. Not that big of a deal. We'll go ahead and acknowledge that. It's done. Let's file the pilot report. That's done. We're good to go here, so I will see you on the website here in just a minute. Here we are on our pilot profile page. You can see here that our flight has already been approved. We got 7 hours in our quick look here, really 6 hours and 29 minutes to go until we make it to first officer, and we're chasing it down fast. You know, it's funny as I think about it, we're chasing down first officer, but I'm really enjoying flying these turboprops right now. It almost makes me not want to get to first officer so fast and spend a little more time with these aircraft, but we can always come back to them later. We can even do flights in them as a first officer, and we may even do that. We may do a couple flights in them as a first officer, take a hop or two in a CRJ or an ERJ to somewhere else, and then do a few flights around in a King Air or something like that, just to spend some more time in these airplanes, because I'm really having a good time with them. But anyway, here we are. We got, like I said, 6 hours, 29 minutes to go until our next promotion. Our current location is KPGA. That's where we went to. Let's take a quick look at our pilot report here. And as you can see, Phoenix Page, 56.84% on the profit. Not too bad. We were a little, now look here, we were about 10 minutes late, but the flight status still counts as on time. All right, because there's a little wiggle room in there, and the longer the flight is, the wider that wiggle room is. So, yeah, we're pretty much good to go there. It shows the Beech 1900 as the equipment, even though that's not what we actually flew, because we are allowed to substitute that aircraft. So we're good to go there. And the only other thing I like to look at is our landing vertical speed was minus 126 feet per minute. Not too bad. We did get one warning on here. Not sure what that was. Let's take a quick look in our flight log, and let's see what our warning was. It just says one warning. That's all it says. I don't see any warnings anywhere in here. Do you? Interesting. I'll have to ask somebody about that. Usually when it says you have a warning, it'll tell you what that was. Not sure what the warning was for on this one, but that's all right. It is what it is. Oh, here we go. Landing lights off below 10,000 feet. That's kind of weird. We had our landing lights on. We turned them on before we did our takeoff, so not really sure why it did that. But at 10 feet above ground level, it hit us with that warning. So not really sure why that is, but oh well, it is what it is. Not a big deal. So that wraps it up now. Let's just hop back over to our profile page here real quick, and we are done with this flight. So we're back up in Page again, and we'll probably be flying from there back on down to Phoenix. Not a big deal. Again, I got beautiful scenery on both of them. I'm enjoying the flights, and looking forward to the next one. So that's it for this, guys. yeah, it was a good time. I enjoyed the flight. There's a few quirks with this new King Air 350. Not used to it yet. A few things we got to figure out, but I'm looking forward to learning those as we go. I hope you enjoyed the flight. If you did, please give a thumbs up down below and please subscribe to my channel. If you have any comments or questions, or you'd just like to point something out where you think I could do a little better, or maybe some ideas about future videos, I'd be more than happy to hear those from you. In fact, I look forward to hearing those from you. So please put something down in the comments. And until next time, keep the blue side up unless instructed otherwise by ATC. Have a good day.